Welcome, 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 welcome on in. Welcome to the 411 podcast. What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining in. We're going to have a great show tonight. We have business owner, Miss Raquel Hernandez, coming in the building tonight from my home state, New Jersey. So we're going to chop it up a little bit about New Jersey. We're going to have some good fun tonight. But if you can please do me a favor, please like, comment, share, subscribe, tag a friend, text a friend, do whatever you got to do to invite them in because this is such a great movement. 5 years, we're here, still rocking, still rolling. And I have to say, very special thank you to each and every one of you out there for doing this. However, I cannot take any credit. I have to give all of the credit, all of the glory, all of the honor to my executive producer, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I thank him each and every day for me to be able to have another day, and especially for being able to do things that I'm doing just such as this right here. So I'm thankful to be able to give y'all the 4-in-1 podcast one more time in life. Along the way, I want to thank all his family, the supporters, everyone out there on social media who have been supporting this whole movement. We starting to restore everything and, wake everybody back up. So I want to give a shout out to a few people who have, joined in and, commented and, whatever you've done to support. I want to say thank you so much, even if it's just a quick like, comment, sharing something. First of all, but before we do that, very special thank you to all of the featured special guests that come through this week. Antonio did a great job last night, and I'm going to touch base on that as we go through. But of course, Miss Raquel, she's coming in tonight. Tomorrow, we have Canadian recording artist Maddie Lee Mars. I want to say thank you. Birdman coming in for the first episode of Reading Between the Wines. I spoke to him today. Ian West and Vonline Jackson, thank you all so much for making Restoration what it is. Miss Sophie Davis, thank you so much, all the way from the UK. Miss Lee Dennis, Alex Coquito, author Lauren Schultz, Miss Shanti Refuge, thank you so much for checking me out. Thank you so much for introducing me to some new people as well through you. So got to give a very special shout out to the Journal Bay. My brother, Mr. Nate Perry, Serene Poems, Lash Maverick Essentials, author Liz Bullard, thank you so much for interviewing me this year as well, having me on your platform. Recording artist Jay Poppy, Easy Street with Jen. I want to give a very special thank you to my cousin, Rockwell Randolph. Marvin Clearview, thank you so much. Maybe we can get you to come back on the show. Aquaria Dalton, Miss Jayla Tucker, fellow Mary J. Blige fan, what's going on. Sasha Nicole Jordan, thank you so much for holding me down on Facebook. And of course, Mr. Danny Lopez for introducing us. And Danny Lopez is all the way from Belgium. We're going to get him to come in on a 4-1 podcast again. And thank you so much. If you want me to give you a shout out, just go ahead and, give me a little like, give me a comment, do something out there, share something, spread the word. And you never know, I might bring you up here. So last night, Antonio Truehill came through all the way from Colorado. We were speaking about rebuilding after the ashes. And he shared his story. We had some great conversations. So please go ahead and check out that replay from last night. That was the first episode. And, things went pretty smooth. Typically, as we go through this and we start, it gets a little bumpy, a little rocky. I saw a little technical difficulties on the first night, but hopefully, things just work better as we continue to flow on. But great conversation. He really opened up, and I was really shocked actually with one of these platforms, but one of the platforms strictly tagged it as inappropriate conversation, which I was shocked. There was no cussing. I think maybe there was one curse word. And I think it was just the maturity level of the conversation that is probably not for kids. So I'm not going to name the platform because I don't want to put people on blast like that. But one of the platforms, you have to actually create an account and log in order hear the conversation. So if you want to make it easier, just go to YouTube. You can check it out on YouTube. Speaking of people on YouTube, and everyone out there, some of the comments, like I know Facebook and I think TikTok last night, some people commented and I didn't see them until afterwards. Still put the comments in. I will go through afterwards and I'll bring it up probably the next day. But for those of you out there on YouTube and I believe a couple other platforms, when you comment, I'll be able to see them. I see that there's some comments in there already. Continue to put them in and I'm going to address all of those towards the end of the show. And yeah, so let's get right on into it. Song of the day, If Only You Knew by Patti LaBelle, released in 1983. I was only 3 years old, y'all. I was only 3 years old when this record came out, and it still rocks on and it still hits core. It can hit your core depending on what you got going on to this day. And it's off of her album, I'm in Love Again. And typically things like that happen when you get in love again. But If Only You Knew by Patti LaBelle, song of the day. So the question that I have for each and every one of you out there is, have you ever experience a tragic situation or heavy burden that you felt that you just couldn't tell anybody, whether you were dealing with something when it has to deal with a relationship, whether you're dealing with something that has to do with on your job with your employer. Sometimes people deal with health issues. Have you ever felt this heavy burden like you couldn't tell anybody? You were in a toxic situation, you were in a hurt situation, and the only thing that you can think of on the deep inside is if only you knew, if only they knew. And what I have to tell each and every one of you, especially anybody out there who's going through this right now, and you might be thinking, if only you knew, if only they knew, I have to tell you that yes, they do know. A lot of people go through these things and we've been through these things and we try to hide things and we put on so many different layers, so many different things to make ourselves look good and try to make ourselves feel a little bit better. But deep down inside, once you peel back that onion, deep down inside, you know, you're sitting there questioning and you're sitting there going back and forth with yourself, and you may not be seeking the help that you need. You may not be reaching out to the person that you need, and you're saying, if only they knew. I'm the only one going through this. If only they knew. I want to tell you that yes, they do know. Some of us have been through some tragic situations. Some of us are going through some tragic situations. Some of us are about to step in to a tragic situation. So when you think that you are the only person going through certain things, sometimes the person right next to you is going through the same thing, have been through it before, and you know, in some cases it's even worse. So I know that when I have thought in the past that, oh, I'm dealing with such a tragic situation, oh, my life is this, my life is that, when I came out here and I started doing the 411 podcast and I started reaching out to so many people all over the world, and they started to share their story and they started to tell me certain things, I was just like, wow, Laren, and you thought that you had a bad situation. And it seems like each and every time I continuously have a conversation, I reach out to people, I share my past experience, I share my story, because this is part of my ministry. As I do that, there's always somebody that comes through and surprises me and lets me know that, wow, sometimes people have it really worse than you do. So before you sit there and say, oh, if only they knew, you know, maybe they do. But I'm not saying go ahead and run out there and share and tell your business to everybody. Find that person that you can confide in, find that person that you can trust, and remember that everything starts with self. So before you start to share outward, make sure you share inward. Make sure you speak to yourself. Make sure you speak with your higher power, because sometimes those people out there, and I'm saying you have to be very careful, just remember, the person that got it all well put together. What do they say? Everything that glitters isn't gold. Grass is not greener on the other side. Sometimes we want and we might wish that our lives and we might wish that our situation is like somebody else, because they do a good job of putting those layers on. They do a good job of putting those walls up. Just remember, if only you knew. If only you knew what that person been through. If only you knew what happens behind closed doors. If only you knew. So tonight we're going to speak about this. Song of the day, Patti LaBelle, If Only You Knew. We're going to talk about healing the wounds that you don't see. Wow. Thank you so much For those of you out there, I see some of you out there. I appreciate that. Go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, tag a friend. Let them know what's going on in the 411 podcast. We have business owner Miss Raquel Hernandez coming in. We're going to go ahead and try to pull her up. And, oops, see? See? First tragic situation already. I just spilled a little water. That's all good, though.
Hey,
Let
how
me
you
tell you, when I was
doing?
recording the last one, I was spilling wine all over the place. But it's just a little water. It's just a little water. What's going on? How you doing?
I'm well in yourself.
I'm doing good besides me spilling water, but
It's not water. It's
at least it's only
it's
water.
flavored juice.
So what's up? What's up? What's good? How is it in your part? I guess you're in the northern part of New Jersey. I'm in, I guess, I would say central.
Oh,
How
quiet, good. You know,
I know we had
can't complain.
I know we had some rain earlier today.
Yeah, we did. We had some rain earlier this morning. Other than that, it's been sunny skies over here.
That's good. What do you like about New Jersey? For people who have never been, maybe they want to visit us. I don't know what for, but some people do in the summertime, the Jersey Shores. I don't know why I talk like that about Jersey, but I just see myself going elsewhere. But for maybe you love it. I know Antonio last night says he loves Colorado and he doesn't plan on moving. How about you?
Um, so it's close enough to New York because I'm a New York girl.
Okay,
So I'm born and raised in the Bronx. So
that's what's
it's
up.
it far enough, but close enough that if I wanted to go ahead and have my fix and go see family, friends, and so on and so forth, it's just a drive away or even a train ride away.
I will tell you that out of all of the boroughs, I think that I like Brooklyn better, but I think that Bronx is up there. I never really had an issue when I was in the Bronx, but I just feel like Brooklyn feels like almost like at home. I'm not a New Yorker, but when I'm there, I'm like, oh, this could be like a home area.
I mean, I'm Bronx all the way through. I have lived in Brooklyn. Brooklyn is not for me. You know, there's always that borough rivalry between the Bronx and Brooklyn, who's better at it, and so on and so forth. But it's you know,
Okay, so I guess I shared your information with the wrong one. I didn't know that
mhm.
there was a rivalry going on like that. Yeah, I didn't know that.
I mean that's been since I could even remember. Been going on. And you from New York? Are you from New York? What borough you from? The Bronx. What borough you from? Brooklyn. You know.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like, nah, I can't mess with you. Like that's just one of those things that
all right, interesting. All right, I'll keep that in mind. Because you never know who you're dealing with, right?
Exactly.
All right, so business owner, you have Oshe Candles. So tell us a little bit about how you started off your business.
It was started off as a therapy session. Um, my mom recently passed when I started, like, dealing with that, healing from that, trying to um, cope in a positive manner with that. So it's more of a ode to her, a homage to her, rather. Um, she was very into spiritual health and wellness. So that's my focus and my goal for my line.
Okay, that's awesome. It's a good dedication.
Yep,
And
aromatherapy for the soul.
so when it comes to aromatherapy, didn't know what I was doing when I was younger, but it was really heavy. I guess in the 90s, aromatherapy was really
hmm
heavy back then, and I didn't know what I was doing. But with that, can you explain what the aromatherapy process is for people who don't know?
So aromatherapy is just another form of just another self-care relaxation method for you instead of, everybody has their vice. Um, but it was just more of it's more of a, just trying to relax and change the vibe. You change your vibe, change your mood, change your spirit. Certain scents go ahead and give healing properties as well. In certain sense, everybody just likes to have a nice smelling house or a nice smelling room, and
Yeah, I know what you mean by that. Is there any scent that's more powerful than another? Like, I guess there's levels to certain things. Is there one that would be like top notch?
I mean, for me, my go-to is always lavender and chamomile. So lavender and chamomile basically help with the relaxation process. So if you have a long day, you can, light that up and just, be in the room, let it, sit and just take in all of that soothing, that loving, that tenderness, to enjoy your moment.
So for somebody who's like high edge anxiety, anger issues, is that something that would help them calm down?
Yes,
Mm.
because I
Listen,
go through that too.
anybody out there, if you listening, you might need to get some lavender and chamomile. Um, I know like chamomile tea and all that stuff that'll make you like go to sleep. They have it for babies to like soothe them and that stuff. So I could sort of see that.
Yeah.
So, um, what's like your number one product that you sell?
It's always going to be the candles. I do have incense that I have on my line. I also have shower steamers, wax melts. I'm going to be adding maybe one or two other products to the line. I'm not sure as to which way I want to go with that just as of yet.
Hmm.
Maybe in like the second or third quarter, I'll go ahead and I'll jump onto that because I have a couple of ideas brewing in my head about what direction I want to go with it.
That's awesome. So give me some of the sense of like the incense. A couple of your
Um,
favorites.
I have just straight lavender. I love that
Mhm.
one. I have a lavender and chamomile. I have, just the old school scents, frankincense and myrrh, frankincense, eucalyptus, peppermint, mango, orange, lemongrass. I mean, my list goes on with the incense like it's crazy.
That's good. That's good. I will say that with incense, I like them. However, they're messy. And I know that they have some things that you can use. I've tried like the box, the long stick box. I've
Mhm.
tried the glass jar where you put the incense upside down, but you'll get some of that residue. What advice do you somebody like me who I've stopped using them because of that? And I love them, but I just stopped using them because of the mess that's called, or is it you just can't avoid it? Is that what it
You
is?
you can't avoid it at all because it's more of like, manufacturers do it differently. Mine's are more holistic and all natural. So I use the natural base with the incense. So it's more of like, it's just like, when you're burning a candle, you're gonna get the residue sometimes left over from burning a candle for so long that the wax, the overage, or just the stuff that's just lingering around after you finish. So it's like you can't help it.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, there are the instant holders that you can go ahead and you can stand them up. You can do the box. The box is at least a little bit more of a cleaner way to store the ashes as far as I'm concerned, because when you have it on like the little plate, you know, depending on how you go ahead and you navigate it, it might go ahead and it might start out straight, but then later on, as it burns, it curves, and then you end up having it on top of the little plate, but also like on the sides of wherever you have it. So,
I used to hate that. I'm over it. I'm over it.
But that's where I would lean towards. Like my recommendation would be, if you don't like that, wax melts. Wax
I've
melts.
seen them. I've seen them before. They do smell very good. Yeah, I haven't
So
personally. Have I used them? Maybe I haven't. I'm not sure, but okay. Um, where can people go to get these products that you sell?
you can always hit me up in DM on Instagram. Right now, my website is a work in progress, although it's still currently up. Still constantly updating it and still trying to get it in a direction where I kind of just like.
Hmm.
So that's just, the best way it is to either just contact me via Instagram or Facebook, and I'll, get back to you, and I can send over a list and stuff like that. But a lot of the products you can see on my social media platforms.
Okay, and go ahead and give us those. Let us know what those are.
Facebook is Oshe Candles, and then I have Instagram, which is Oshe underscore candles. Then you can get me there.
Now, I know you do a lot of trade shows and stuff like that. Any new events, pop ups coming up in the future?
Right now, I've actually haven't done an event in quite some time, only because of, just revamping, just lifing it as we all do, and just adding more stuff onto my plate.
Yeah. How do you like being an entrepreneur?
I love it. It's a challenge, but you get to learn. And for me, it's all about independence, freeing myself from, having to work a 9 to 5,
Mm-hmm.
being able to want to wake up at whatever time I want to on any given day and just, start my day whenever.
I was listening to a podcast and I heard the host say that his friend's definition of an entrepreneur is somebody who works 16 plus hours a day so that they don't have to work 8 hours a day for somebody else.
That is true. That is true. Even while I'm still working my 9 to 5, I'm still working on my business. I'm still changing, doing things and creating and figuring out what's the next step. So it's a constant evolution.
I know that's right. I was speaking to somebody today actually, and this individual told me that they don't have time. I was trying to encourage, like, well, maybe you should, start your own business. Maybe you should, take this specific class. Maybe you should, do this or do that. And the response was, I don't have time by the time I get out of work. And that's one of the biggest tricks that the enemy has, is to have us go work for somebody else and have us pour all of our energy to a business. And by the time we get home, we're tired and we just get in front of the TV and eat and then go to sleep and do it all over again. And that's, the definition of being caught up in the matrix.
That, but like it was put to me by one of my mentors and my coaches. Is if you have enough time to scroll, you have enough time to do a task on your business
I know
or
that's
to
right.
do that research.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be tired. Sometimes you're gonna have days where it's not in the cards for you. You're not feeling that vibe, but in order to be successful, you got to put in the work. Just like if you go to a regular 9 to 5, you still got to put in that work. You still got to fulfill those tasks. You still got to fulfill all of that, right? It's the same process when you're being an entrepreneur.
Hmm. And how many years you been doing it?
6 years.
And how many times during the 6 years did you want to give up? That's-
Oh, whew, whew. It, I listen. You go through those processes every single day where you're just like, no, I don't want
Mhm.
to do this no more. And it's just like, you know what? You have to surround yourself around the right people that are going to motivate you and going to be in your corner and just bring it, push you. If you don't have the right people in your corner, it it tends to push you away from what you want to do.
Yeah, those are distractions, and I have a definition of distractions. When people say, "Larry, what are distractions?" Any people, places, and materialistic things that will move you away from your goal, that will move you away from having the needle pushed in your financial direction.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and it's interesting because God has a way of moving some of these distractions away. But then he also has a way of saying, okay, let me see if you've learned your lesson because I have shielded you and I have protected you enough. And it seems as if you want to continuously move left when I'm trying to go ahead and move you to the right. So since you want to continuously go to the left while I'm trying to move you to the right, let me just let this little distraction show up and see how you handle it. So, I mean,
You're right.
at least
I've
that's
experienced that more than once throughout my journey, so I totally get it. And you just have to, sometimes you just have to pause and you have to sit back and regroup and do a lot of self reflection
mm.
and a lot of ownership and accountability to that. You have to, as an entrepreneur, there's a lot of ownership and accountability to what you're doing at the end of the day.
And that those are some key words that you said, ownership and accountability. And the first thing that comes to mind is accountability, because before you can do anything to help anybody else, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, if you're a coach, if you're a leader, you have to have some accountability for who you are. And it starts with making sure you get it together with self first, because everything starts with self.
You have to take time out for self-care, self-healing, self-reflection. Um that I mean, if you're not you have to make time for yourself because the more even just working a 9 to 5, you burn yourself out. It's like, oh, just like with anybody else, you feel like, it's another job. Yeah, but you have to learn to own that this is your situation, but what are you going to do about it? And how are you going to combat any obstacles going forward?
Now, what advice do you have for anybody who is looking to start a business, someone who they may have not figured it out yet, but they want to break away from the matrix? They don't want to work for someone for the rest of their lives. What starting points, what advice would you give them?
Do your research, do something that you're passionate about. I mean, if it doesn't feel like work when you're doing it, that's your passion. So it's just like, if you like coaching, if you like helping people, help solve the problems and that's your niche, all right, you got to do that. You have to do your research, find your niche, find who your people or your tribe are going to be, and just identify, and how you can relate. Because not everybody, there's tons of things that you can do as far as business wise. It's just figuring out what your niche is. What is it that it feels effortless for you to do?
That's a good point. When it feels like you're having fun when you're not working, that's when you can get caught up. That's when you can work those 16 hours a day for yourself so that you don't have to work 8 hours a day for somebody else. I get that. Um, Now, you know what? I can't even believe I just did that. I had this wonderful thought and it just slipped my mind. I can't believe that happened. I
It
really,
wasn't meant for you to say right now.
really that happens. But it's going to come back in any case. We have missed. It's going to come back. And it was so good and it was just going to be so profound too. And then it just slipped. Mm. Anyway, we have Miss Raquel Hernandez, all the way from the state of New Jersey, my hometown as well, my home state as well. And we're sitting here speaking about businesses, and I understand that you have this sort of multi business thing going on. Are you prepared to announce your new endeavors that you have?
Oh, I'm very prepared to announce my new endeavors. So I'm currently developing an apparel line, custom apparel line, for people like ourselves, entrepreneurs that are looking to go ahead and do custom designs for whether it be for your business or for an event and so on and so forth. Um, I provide t-shirts and hoodies for that. I just actually started doing it last month. Well,
Okay.
actually, no, this month was my first order. Um, and it was for a social club and a motorcycle club. And they were going to an event and asked me to go ahead and do some shirts, and I made them for them, and they loved it.
Okay, so Black Diamond Consultations. I knock on your door, send you an email. I like to, purchase some T-shirts. Then you just take it from there. Where I guess I provide you with all the information, logos, all that stuff.
You can provide me with it. We can do a consultation where you can tell me the design. I can just automatically design it, mock it up, and go from there. Like I just started to do mock-up design for another small business entrepreneur um, because he's doing so good. He's just like, we were just trying to, figure out some catchphrases for him and stuff like that. So I just did a mock-up, and he was just like, "Oh my God, I love it."
And you do logo designs and all that stuff.
I can do logo designs and all of that stuff as well.
Oh, that's amazing. Because I know someone who's looking to get their logo together. So I'll definitely keep you in
I
mind for that.
designed all my logo, every single one of my logos for all my businesses. I designed myself.
That's awesome. What else we have? What else you got?
I also have a nonprofit that I'm starting up as well called Oshe Light of Love. Um, so it's basically geared towards, helping the homeless, feeding, serving the communities around the state of New Jersey, um, and just trying to give back. I think it's a big thing to give back to your community, give back to, where you reside at, geared towards homelessness and special needs at this time. But we're open to go ahead and do more things as well coming in the future. So just starting to build that out and start to roll it. About to roll that out soon. I do have a community event with Crazy Dozen MC and SC for Easter. So they go ahead and they serve to the community in Plainfield, New Jersey, um, and just give back to the kids. It's just like a trunk or treat style situation. Bring the kids out. We will have activities out there, for the kids to enjoy. Have an Easter egg hunt, and there's just a lot of community based people, food trucks, and so on and so forth. Just trying to give back.
Oh, that's awesome. That sounds really big too. That's good. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to throw a little monkey wrench in this because I know. Well, first of all, with the nonprofit, one word that I have to tell you that because I used to have my own nonprofit. Just one word. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Volunteers. It's like that was one of the biggest challenge that I had. Is the volunteers. So I pray for you that everything works well, but I know a lot of nonprofits. That's one of the things that keeps people up at night is the volunteers.
Well, luckily enough, I do have a wonderful, awesome support system and team backing me with this venture. I am involved in the motorcycle community. I am involved in the social club community. So if I needed to pull or ask favors, I'm pretty sure the club brothers and sisters will go ahead and come along and, put it together.
Oh, that's good. Now you actually ride?
No, I don't ride. I'm actually the president of one of the social clubs.
Okay, okay.
So,
I was
yeah.
gonna say, all right, let me find out.
No, Nope, 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 nope. Hubby won't let me get a bike, so
Now, does he have one?
no.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean they could have their challenges. I'll put it that way. Now, as you're manifesting all of these wonderful things and you're giving to the community, I want you to think about when you say giving back. I heard, and the only reason why I'm saying this is because I've heard this so much. Um, One of my mentors that I watch, he always says that I don't use the phrase giving back because I didn't take place. I'm just giving. So, as you're manifesting, because you know our subconscious mind, uh, it controls 95% of our reality, which when I found that out, I was like, oh, wow, that's very, very disturbing that 95% of our reality is controlled by our subconscious mind. So, we have to be very cautious about the things that we say. So, giving is one thing, but when you say giving back, you didn't take anything.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And that's a good takeaway. That is a
So,
very good takeaway for me.
So as you're manifesting, if you change your words to just say giving, you might like change it to move in a direction even quicker. I don't know. Just try it for 30 days and see what happens. Just my
Oh no.
personal.
Listen, I'm all for it. I'm all for the jewel drops that you drop every time we connect and we discuss.
He goes off a lot. He goes, giving back. I ain't take nothing in the first place. I
But
ain't
it
giving.
does make sense.
I'm just,
It
I'm just.
makes it makes sense. It really truly does.
So before we continue, is there anything else that you'd like to let us know? Because you know what path we're getting ready to go down.
No, I think I'm good on that.
Okay, okay, okay. It's much different now that it's face to face, huh? Isn't it?
Well, when we did our mic test, like I said, I'm 3 days out of the week, I'm on a constant call. So for me, it's just like, okay, yeah, it's the same repetitive thing. So for me, I don't have a problem with being in front of the computer and having a conversation. I mean, I do CEO sessions twice a week, and we're on a call for like, I want to say 3 to 4 hours, just helping each other out. Small businesses just helping each other out, and just what can I do to help you? Where do you need help at? Let's go ahead and let's look at where
Yeah.
we can and get a different perspective out of things. Because sometimes, a lot of the times, you do need that. Like I said, you have to build a tribe. You have to build that momentum, that team, to go ahead and just lean on when you become unfocused, or you can become to that point where you're like, I don't want to do this no more. I want to give up. I'm done. I wash my hands of it.
That's a good point. You have to be able to take constructive criticism. I know it was very hard for me in the beginning to take constructive criticism, I mean, you got to be careful with who you get it from too. So it's also good for you to, ask for feedback. And I was never a person to ask for feedback. And one of my friends, he was like, I think you should do this with podcasts. And this was like a couple years ago. And I'm like, whatever. I'm not listening to that. I'm, doing my own thing. And then again, he was like, I really think you should, do something with your podcast because there's a couple little tweaks that you can make that will make a heck of a difference. And I was like, whatever. And then just like maybe a couple months ago, I was like, okay, finally, I need to get out of my way. I need to, listen. People have been in the game as much as I have, and they have different technology features and stuff like that. So I'm going to listen. So then I listen, and then that's why we have the face-to-face live conversation now. And there's a couple other things that are coming too. So sometimes we have to just get out of our own way and check the source. I always say check the source. So I had to say, okay, listen, this individual has a podcast, and then I start to look and see some of the things, and I said, okay, so this is a good source. I'm not listening to somebody that I just met yesterday, and
Mm.
they don't have anything that I have. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
It's always good to just kind of like, sit back and yeah, okay, thank you. I always say it, thank you, no problem. I'm gonna put that in the memory bank real quick, and then I'm strategic with things. So with that being said, it's like when I'm thank you for that. I'm gonna put that in that mental note. However, I'm not gonna pull that trigger just yet. I'm gonna pull it when I feel that
Mm,
it's right for me and how I want to move, because this, not all advice can be good without doing that research. But at the same time, once you do that research and it doesn't make sense initially, but then you go ahead and you that self reflection, you know, um, you go ahead and you're like, you know what? Let me try it that way, and let's
right,
see what that feedback is.
right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the segment that I know some of you love to tune in for. We're getting ready to get into burning questions. So if you would like to chime in on tonight's burning question, you most certainly can text me at 609-200-1098. Again, that phone number is 609-200-1098. That is the official 411 podcast hotline. And the burning question that I have for tonight is, how do you navigate emotional healing when the scars aren't visible but deeply felt? And I'll go ahead and read that one more time. How do you navigate emotional healing when the scars aren't visible but deeply felt? Go ahead and take that away.
That's a good question. It's a deep question because everybody handles emotional healing differently. Everybody uses their own different methods on how to heal themselves, whether it be journaling, meditation, going out into nature, just doing things that kind of make you feel happy in order to go ahead and heal emotionally. It just really depends. Like when I'm trying to do emotional healing, I tend to like be more recluse and do a lot of self-reflection. And you have to feel your emotions sometimes. Sometimes you have to cry it out, sometimes you have to yell it out, sometimes you just have to curse um and just go there. Just you have to feel, sometimes you have to feel that emotion, sometimes you have to feel that anger, sometimes you have to feel that hate, sometimes you have to feel that brokenness or that self worthlessness in order to go ahead and try to get yourself out of that.
Mm. You touched a lot of good points. You talked about some of the things that are paramount when it comes to self care, when it comes to healing. If I can remember them off the top, um, getting with self, getting into nature. You said meditation, and one thing that I would add in there is music, because music is therapy to me. Saved my life, and that's one of the biggest things that I've done. Although you have to be very careful because music is very powerful, and the words that we speak, the words that we hear, some of the images that we see, that can steer us on a path of going left or steer us on a path of going right. And so the music that you use as therapy is very important, because in the past I have been stuck in some cycles of repeating the same thing over and over again because I was attached to certain sad songs. And you can become attached to that feeling. And the minute that you pull yourself up and you get yourself moving in the right direction, you run back and you play that record. And then now you're right back where you were before. And it's just this back and forth, and it's this dance that keep going back and forth. So music is very powerful. Words are very powerful. Of course, they talk a lot about that in the Bible. So you have to be very careful as far as what we speak about ourselves, how we actually feel about ourselves. Sometimes we don't even have to speak it, but how you feel and what you internalize can shift and put your life in a whole different direction as well. So you definitely did, touch some key points there. And with this question, I guess one of the most, I guess, disturbing parts of it is that we can't see. We can't see how people are feeling on the inside. So you never know what people are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. That's why I try to be very respectful and treat people with respect, because deep down inside you have no idea what that person is going through. You have no idea what they deal with when they get behind closed doors.
You're absolutely correct with that. Even just to touch back on you saying music kind of heals your soul and stuff like that. I, Music, yeah, music calms the beast. Music, yeah, certain songs can make you go through an emotional roller coaster. What I have learned to tend to do is my playlist is very bipolar. So we can have one of those minutes where we're just happy, and then one of those minutes where we're sad. And for me, I kind of look at like certain songs as like a message.
Mm.
Like one of my mom's favorite songs is from Mark Anthony, Vivi la Vida, meaning living your life. And when I listened to that, at first it was more of I got really, really emotional. But now I'm at the point in my life where it's just like, thank you, mommy. You're
Mm.
you're you're, you're listening to me. You're listening to my inner thoughts and my inner sanctity as far as that goes. So it's just more of a thank you. Song by Donny Hathaway. One of my brothers. Um, was one of his favorite songs, and I hit again. It went from the emotional, oh yeah, I miss you when you passed, and now it's more of, hey bro, how you doing? Sometimes you have to change your mind frame and your mindset of thinking when you're listening to music, because music fuels the soul, but it's how you go ahead and how you change your mannerisms to
Absolutely. How
reflect.
you I know exactly what you mean. 'Cause I used to let my music do all of the cussing for me. Like when I was in relationships, I can laugh about it. I can laugh about it today, but did I go through it? And let me tell you, my favorite artist definitely used to be wearing people out. Oh, you want to piss me off? That's it. Let me just go ahead and throw this record on. I got you, and then be blasting it all throughout the house, and I ain't got to say nothing. But you know exactly what happens when that. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'm in my feelings. I'm in my emotions. Stay far, far away from me. My husband's the same way. He understands. Sometimes if I'm playing music, he gives me that look like, you okay? You
now
know,
when when I listen to music, I do. I once my eyes and ears have been opened up to the power of the words and stuff, immediately. Like I was listening to something today, and when artists say stupid stuff like, "Oh, it's killing me," I'm like, "Let me turn this stuff off because ain't nothing killing me." And you gonna let a relationship sit here and say that that's killing you, and I just turn it off. And I'll be talking to my daughters too. I'll be like, "You hear what they saying? A relationship, and you gonna sit here and say that somebody's killing you?" And I used to sing some of these songs and think like that. And I'm like, oh, hell no. Something's killing you. I wish I would be in a relationship and I'm sitting here saying it is. No.
I think of it sometimes as a reflection.
Mm,
I get where you're coming with that with the words, but like for me, it's more of yeah. Let me reflect on that real quick, because yeah, sometimes you can relate to that song, and you're just like, but we could choose different word choices, but I get where you're coming from with that song, so it's just like,
yeah. I mean, I when I listen to it, I think about the younger version of me and I'm like, okay, I understand why, you know, I navigated toward this, but I'll be talking to myself like, you stupid. Like, get over it. Like, like not talking to the artist. Like, I can't believe you signed up for that. But all right. So we gonna move on. We gonna move on. Any last final thoughts that you'd like to go ahead and give to everybody out there?
Mm, no, not that I could think of. You know how we do. We just go with the flow. So
Um, Go ahead and let us know where we can reach out to you again as well for anybody who stepped in after we got past that part.
sure. Facebook Oshe Candles. Instagram Oshe_candles. That's OSHECANDLES.
And I think that I owe you like an event, don't I? Owe like to show up to an event or something like that for you. I
Yeah,
remember.
you do. You do.
But you got your nonprofit and everything. Once you get everything, more events, just holla at your boy, and I definitely got you.
Oh, most definitely. I will. I will. I will. I'm just like I said, just, it's all baby steps. It's all, learning, going through a whole process, going through your own emotions and, again, ownership and accountability. So, um, just going there.
Okay, very good, very good. I'm going to go through some of these comments before we go ahead and let you get on out of here. Do you know Mr. Mellow Yellow?
Yes, I do.
Okay, it's it's Ben.
It's
Ocean.
man.
That's very good. Mr. Birdman 313, he's coming in soon. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for showing love. And Mr. Mellow Yellow says, how do you balance planning for the future and being present?
That's a good question. I mean, I just tend to go with the flow. I write it down and, manifest that into existence. I believe that, sometimes writing things on paper and actually following through and seeing it through makes you more in the present because you can, at the end of the day, say you did that.
You just dropped a good gem because I believe that what we have going on in our mental, that's why you have to be very careful about the things that you think about because what we have going on in our mental shows up in reality. So everything that we are experiencing, every situation that we go through, that is because of the thoughts that we had, and it just manifests in the future. So that is a very good question. How do you balance planning for the future and being present? And one thing that I do is I say, listen, God, I'm just going to go ahead and turn this thing over here to you because if I'm supposed to have this, I'm supposed to have it, but I don't get so caught up about worrying about the future because then it can sort of get you into some issues, especially the way you want them to turn out because you think that you're in control, but in reality, you're not. A lot of times we get tripped up because we think that we're controlling and we're running everything, but nah, it don't work like that. So you mentioned something about writing it down. And I think that's very important because, again, if you have it starting up in your mental, but you write it down, it helps reinforce it, which locks them together. And then you will be able to manifest things a little bit quicker than what you normally would because you are reinforcing it with your visuals, with visualization in your brain as well. So that's a good, awesome point. Thank you for bringing that to us as well. That's a good point. Writing. And speaking of writing, Mr. Birdman 313 says, I write poetry and I listen to soft, relaxing music to reflect on my healing. So he's Mr. Poetry, and um, I'm sure he's going to bring some great stuff for us on Wednesday as well. So, yeah, writing, journaling, poetry, music, nature, sometimes the sounds of nature, the birds chirping, the movement of the water, the ocean, the rustling of the trees and the leaves, all of that stuff's very therapeutic. So, thank you all so much for sharing. Thank you so much, Miss Rockwell, for joining in tonight. I think I told you before I have a cousin. Her name is Rockwell too.
Yeah, we talk about this all the time.
Yeah, so thank you so much for coming in, and maybe we'll see you in the future live in person, and maybe we'll have you back on the show.
I'm always here for it.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Take care. Have a good night.
You as well.
Well, there you have it, everybody. That is Miss Raquel Hernandez from Oshe Candles. And I want to say thank you so much to every one of you for joining out there tonight. Thank you so much for the people who have commented. You can also text me at 609 200 1098 if you are watching the replay, if you're coming across this the next day, the next week, the next month, whenever. Please feel free to let me know how you feel about the burning questions. You can also text me a burning question if you'd like me to ask a specific question to the guests that come on. You can go ahead and text me that. If you want me to make it anonymous, I can do that as well because we've had that a couple times. We had some pretty bizarre things that people decide to present as a burning question. And of course, you can also DM me on any of my social media platforms as well. I'm on Facebook. Let me make sure I get this right: Facebook, Instagram, uh, X, which is formerly Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, D Live, Twitch, and Daily Motion. You can also sign up for my free monthly newsletter, which is Whispers of Wisdom. I give you basically inspirational messages. You get all of the insider news information as far as when live podcasts are coming up, special guests. You get all of that ahead of time and mixed with spiritual information. We give you information as far as mental health awareness, um, physical, as far as eating healthy and taking care of yourself. And most important, well, I won't say most important, but it is important to me, the financial aspect about it. I am a financial coach, so I definitely give tips, tricks, little nuggets as far as something that I'm very passionate about, which is debt free living, all through the lens of spiritual, physical, mental, and financial well being. You can get all of that information over at LarenGains.com. I offer free 15-minute consultations for anyone who might be feeling stuck. You might have picked up something that you heard tonight when we speak about the entrepreneurship, starting your own, breaking away from the matrix. Maybe you're living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you're in consumer debt, whatever the situation may be. If you have any types of questions because there's something that maybe something got unlocked tonight, you might want to be able to take us in a different direction, but you're unsure, head on over to LarenGains.com, follow the information for the free 15-minute consultation, and we'll go ahead and see which direction you might want to go in. But let me tell you this. I posted a picture today on Instagram speaking about how my life was in 2022. And although everything looked good on the outside, we spoke about how you never know what people are dealing with on the inside. In 2022 versus where I am here today definitely was a big difference. I was so ignorant. I was so blind to so many different things. I thought that I had certain situations going on and I was the man in this direction and I was doing big things. And when I look back, knowing the information that I know today, and I'm like, wow, you really come a long way. So with that, um, I'm building this huge gap, this huge river, this huge ocean, this huge continent when it comes to where I'm at here today in debt, because I'm very passionate about debt free living. And I'm here to share this and I'm here to help anybody who wants to change their life. Once you get out of debt, that's just the beginning of it. It's the work, it's the reps that have to be put in to continuously keep this thing going because here, but is always knocking at your back door trying to catch up to you and always trying to catch up to you and always trying to catch up to you. So poverty lack, that is a form of spiritual warfare. So if you want to break generational curses, if you want to kick the enemy away, if you want to build an ocean, a continent, you want to build something greater, a huge mountain in between so that the enemy can't catch up to you, because that paycheck to paycheck type of situation, that swiping a credit card to pay for the essentials and the necessities that you need in your life, build that gap, build that bridge, build that mountain, do whatever you need to do to beat that thing away from your doorstep. Because if you just sit there and continuously do the same thing that you're doing over and over and over again, expecting that a miracle is going to come and you don't put any extra work in, that enemy is just going to get closer and closer. And there are certain things that enemy uses to get closer and closer: inflation, tariffs, taxes, all of it, but we ain't even gonna get into that. So anyway, just head on over to LarenGaines.com if you want any more information about that. Tomorrow we have my friend. This is going to be her second time coming on the show, and I know she is so excited about coming in, and I'm so excited about having her come on because I love the whole international love that we have going on here at the 411 podcast. I don't know where it came from, but I'm just so thankful. I have friends in the UK. I have friends in France. I have friends in Belgium. I have friends in Iran. And a friend is coming on the show tomorrow from Canada. So we have recording artist Maddie Lee Mars coming in tomorrow. And she's just great to speak with. I love speaking with her. So on that note, I want to say a very special thank you to each and every one of you out there. Thank you so much to Miss Raquel Hernandez for joining in. And I will see y'all tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same place, same time. Please like, comment, share, tag, bring a friend in. And yeah, on that note, good night. And I will see you when I see you. Thank you so much, Birdman, for joining in. And I appreciate you for supporting the show. Raquel, thank you so much. Antonio, thank you so much. Take care, y'all. Y'all have a good night.